All right, welcome to Christian Overcomers, and thank you for joining us for this live broadcast. Hey, we're kind of testing out our equipment here this week. We're getting ready for our Thursday discussion on nationalism, whether it's good or bad. What does the Bible say about it? We were broadcasting these live on Facebook for a while, and we weren't really happy with the way the Facebook setup was. So we're going to try this on YouTube every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Now, sometimes that might change. We might go to switch it up to a Thursday or some other day if our schedule is full on a Wednesday. But for the most part, you'll be able to catch us here on YouTube every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And if you're watching this on, if you want to go to Facebook, you can go to our Facebook group page and we'll embed the video there. And you'll also be able to get it right from our website at any time. There's a link at the top of our page that says watch us live every Wednesday. If you click on that top link, you'll get to our live video, our newest live video. I guess we'll talk about, was there anything I missed there?
No, you covered it.
We're going to talk about how the real concern isn't Russia tampering with our elections. I believe our real concern is the globalists. And, we hear all these investigations going on with, the intelligence services, trying to find out if there was collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. But there's never any mention about the collusion that goes on with the Democrats in other countries, with China and international bankers and you name it.
Obama telling Russia that when he gets reelected, he'll have more flexibility to do something that we don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Obama's been caught red-handed on a hot mic, colluding with Russia, saying that he's got to say one thing now, but then after the election, he can do things in Russia's favor. Nobody talks about that stuff. And nobody talks about how the Federal Reserve Bank is a privately owned banking institution that buries our country in debt. And they just print money out of thin air, and they've done a great harm to our country. And they are an international interest, a global interest. They're not for America. So why aren't our intelligence services investigating the globalists, the collusion going on with the globalists, as well as collusion going on with China and so forth? They're only focused on Donald Trump and colluding with the Russians. Well, we know from the Bible that our main enemy ultimately is not nationalism. We'll talk about that this week. It's globalism. Globalism is the thing written about in the Bible. It's described in Revelation chapter 13, as well as Revelation chapter 17, as a multi-headed beast that dominates the earth. So it's not, Russia isn't the biggest threat. Could they be a threat? Maybe. But the thing is we're not talking about this in a balanced way. Back when Russia was the Soviet Union, you had, I think I heard Rush Limbaugh talking about it the other day. I think it was Ted Kennedy was colluding with the Russians. And other Democrats have colluded with the Russians in the past when they were the Soviet Union. So it's interesting that the Democrats loved the Soviet Union, but now they hate Russia. So when Russia was communist under the Soviet Union, they loved them. But now that they're nationalistic, and I'm not saying they're a perfect government or anything like that, or that Putin's an angel, but it's odd that they loved them then, but they hate them now. Could it be that Russia is doing things better than they used to? I don't know.
Yeah, I think one of the other things is because the Hillary supporters just cannot accept the fact that they lost, that if they can have a nice, neat storyline as to why they lost
Yeah.
because of this big global interference by Russia in our election system. Well, that's why she lost. Clearly, it doesn't because Trump deserved it or is the better person for the job. It's because Russia interfered, and if they can accept that and make that the fake news narrative, they feel better about themselves and the fact that their candidate lost. That's why they're running with it.
Yeah, we talked about exactly. They have to make an excuse for it, and they have to blame, and
even though there has still been no evidence brought forward, other than news stories.
Yeah, I saw on CNN today. Their news was coming out about this investigation, and their headline said something like Trump's tweets about Obama spying on him. They basically said that was debunked, but the Russian collusion with the Trump campaign was a yes.
It's under heavy investigation.
But they said it was a yes, like as though it was proven to fact, but that's not what's been done so far. In these hearings, all they're saying is that they are investigating it. They didn't say that there was collusion.
The funny thing is, even if, let's just say they were involved in the hacking and that what was hacked and what was let out to the American people were truths about how corrupt the Democrat Party is. That was what was hacked, whether it was the Russians or Wikipedia or not Wikipedia, WikiLeaks. What was hacked was the truth about how corrupt they are and how they were cheating and things like that. So to me, we don't want other countries interfering in our democratic process, but if they were, it wasn't like they were in there manipulating the voting machines or telling people to vote this way. They just exposed the truth of who the Democrat Party really is. So that's just a side note, either way. And I am getting some buffering.
Oh, you are?
Quite often.
Quite often? I got here, we're still running. This is kind of a test for us still. I'm getting here, it's telling us that we have bad video settings, so we'll have to check out on our end, see if we got something not going right there. Anyways, I was going to add to what you were just saying there. About democracy. How that, they're trying to present this Russian interference as such a threat to democracy. And like you're saying, we don't want any countries interfering with our democracy. But every country around the world obviously has their interests on who they want to be president. Now, Russia, maybe it was Donald Trump that they wanted because they thought that a Donald Trump presidency would be better for their, interests around the world, in Syria or wherever. I don't know all the details of that. But China has interests. They want the liberals the Democrats to be in power because I think we know all the way back with the Clintons that they've been paid off. That the Clintons have worked in collusion with China, to get whatever it was for money, for power, for political, influence.
What's even more ironic and funny and hypocritical is that it's actually been proven that Barack Obama did try to influence the elections in Israel with, I think it was money that we were giving him. I don't know. I'd have to look more into the facts of how he did it. I know money was involved as far as giving money, our money, taxpayers' money, to Israel or to the opposition party to to get the right person in office. I don't know. Did you ever hear of that?
I did hear some stuff about that.
Talk about involving in another. It's just so hypocritical, and it's just sometimes it drives me crazy.
Yeah, there's always going to be agents in the country, whether they're in the Democrat campaign, try to work themselves into the Democratic campaign, or even into the Republican campaign, so that they can try to influence their agenda. So this Russian thing, it shouldn't be a big surprise if they were trying to influence our election in any way, because they always try to influence our elections.
But whether Trump was in there colluding with them and saying, hey, you got to, because one time as a joke, he said or tweeted out, maybe Russia could find Hillary's lost emails or whatever.
Now, I look at it as even if, let's just say Donald Trump was guilty, which I doubt they're going to be able to prove, because I think they would have already tried to prove it. If Donald Trump was working in collusion with Russia against the globalists, what would be better? The Democrats working with the globalists, or Donald Trump working with Russia not to work together to, as though they're going to form a super united government together, but because they both had the same common foe, and that is the New World Order or the globalist conspiracy.
Yeah.
So if they both wanted to have their country be free and they were working together, I don't even see a problem with that. I think that's good if they're working against the globalists, because the globalists, we know, again, like I said before, in Revelation 13 and many other places, they're the enemy of Christianity. They're the enemy of freedom. They've worked in collusion to bankrupt our country, to put us in great amounts of debt, and to contaminate our country with immorality and things like that. They're trying. The real enemy is the globalist empire that's trying to bring us down, so that they can form this world government.
Try to drown us, open our borders, and drown us in immigrants, illegal immigrants, that'll just come in and smother our population and our culture and our workforce and our jobs, and therefore we will need other countries to help us and to bail us out and such. So, I mean, it just, I get your point that it would be better to be with Russia and keep our nation private and separate and free, and Russia's private and separate and free, than to have the global initiative working. Right. I totally agree with that. But either way, that's a bigger thing that nobody will ever understand in the left.
Right.
You could talk till you're blue in the face.
And Damien and I were talking about this before we went live, but I heard rumors that Russia was becoming more Christian, and that there's revivals happening there, and that Putin was supporting Christianity. But Damien pulled up an article that said that Putin was trying to pass some law or legislation, or that he passed it, saying that you can't evangelize outside of the church. So I don't know. I'm going to have to do some more research on that. But again, regardless, our greatest enemy is the globalist New World Order that's been destroying our country, and part of that globalist empire, or a great deal of it, is in the deep state that we've talked about a little bit here, which really started way back with the, I'm trying to remember, we had a whole video about that. The National Security Act of 1946.
Oh, way back.
I think it was. 40. What was 70 years ago? Would it have been 47?
Yeah, well, somewhere around there.
Anyways, we did a whole study on how Donald Trump, maybe God's using him after a 70-year period of captivity by this deep state, by this shadow government. And maybe we're seeing this battle taking place now, where deep state, or the shadow government, is going to be overthrown. Yeah, 1947. So anyways, that was a very interesting conversation that we had there. I think that's about it for this short topic here. We just really wanted to run a test, and we wanted to kind of talk about this, how the media and everybody else in Congress they're putting so much emphasis on Russia affecting our elections. Think about it. The only way they could have affected our elections is if they were working in collusion with WikiLeaks, and they got dirt on Hillary Clinton. But isn't that dirt that we'd want anyways?
Right.
Don't we want to know what Hillary's doing?
That's what I mean. The only thing they exposed was the corrupt Democrat Party.
Yeah. I mean, so the Democrat Party shouldn't be crying about. They shouldn't be doing bad things anyways. If they weren't doing bad things,